Good morning, crafty friends. Happy Saturday. Welcome to Stamp and Create with Beth. I'm Beth Roy, an Independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today is Saturday, September 20th, 2025, and I'm just going to pull up my video and wait for a few of you to join me. So if you're watching the replay over on YouTube or on Facebook, please say hello. If you're new to hanging out, let me know where you're watching from. I would love to get to know you. So good morning, friends. I have a bunch of things here next to me. I'm excited to create with you today. Good morning, Joan. So you'll see a card in front of you that is not fall, but this is my pocket card, and we made this last year, and it just has a little note card that slides in and out. You can tape a gift card to it. You can write a little personal message, and I used this little coffee cup from More Than Autumn. And it has some cute things. It has marshmallows. It has all the things. It also has some matching dies. It has a donut, pumpkin pie, and lots of word stamps. So I loved this card. I think I made several versions of this. But I am going to redo this with a fall twist. So are you guys ready? Now this tutorial... I forgot to check, but I believe it is loaded into my Stamp and Create with Beth group where I put free tutorials. It is also over on my blog, and you can click on the link to print this tutorial. Good morning, Deb. Good morning, Linda. Good morning, Maggie. Thanks, everyone, for joining me. So let me show you my fall twist here, and this one I posted, so it has the little note card that pulls out. Now this doesn't open, so if you want extra space to write, you could add a white piece of cardstock on the back here. But isn't that cute? I love this. So that's one. Here's one with designer series paper. So on this one I used the Forever Plaid embossing folder, and then I used a sanding block on my two-tone. So our two-tone paper is printed, so the core is white, and you can sand it and do fun techniques. Good morning, Christy. Yes, Joan, this was one of my favorites. So I was going through all my cards. Remember, if you watched my video in my group, I've been cleaning. So I was going through my cards and I found that one, and I remembered I loved that card. So let's do that. So this one has a distressed look, which I love. And this one, I didn't use the latte cup or the coffee cup from More Than Autumn. I just used this new set. So this new set is in my online store, Gathering Moments. There is a full suite with paper and some embellishments, but I just have the bundle and the paper. And so there's still room to write a message down here. I was thinking of using these to give people little gifts. So if you host Thanksgiving, or maybe you have employees or team members, maybe you have a direct sales business, or you own a company and you want to give a little something, this is very cute. You can write so thankful for you and attach a little gift card there, and these are quick. Okay. So that is that one. Now this one I love. I actually used the designer series paper on this one is the Timeless Plaid. So I have a lot of that paper, and I thought, wow, it does have a plaid color that I liked for my color scheme. And I did a little trick with my large leaf here and stamped on it. And then I love this little mushroom that is in this Gathering Moment set. So it has an acorn, it has some little berries. Now it does have some texture stamps here. I wish this plaid stamp was bigger because you guys know I love plaid. But you could use that to, add a little texture here and there. So, some other things that I used, I'm going to tell you really quickly. I used the smallest circle to make my tab piece. You could use a square. You could even use a banner. Excuse me, if you like that shape better. Use whatever you like. Now, I did die cut some other things. So, some things I have in my pile for today. I was looking for leaves that I could make into fall leaves. And I realized I don't have a lot of leaf dies. But several of our flower sets do have leaves. So, this is a large leaf. It is from Pretty Florals. And then this is the other set, Amber Autumn, that came out. This is in the new mini catalog, September to December. And it has this leaf here. So I went ahead and die cut some of those just to have to play with. And I also want to show you, so the die set that goes with this More Than Autumn, it does cut out many things, but it doesn't cut out these words. These are standalone dies. They don't actually pair with the stamp. And there's some fun things, and there's this fun little leaf here. So I've die cut a bunch of those things, and we're just going to play today and create one of these cards. So again, if you need this tutorial, you can head over to my group, Stampin' Crate with Beth group, or when I'm done and I post this, I will post the link to the blog and this new video, and you can head over to the blog and download this to print, okay? And this QR code goes to my original video to make that. So, let's get ready to create. Are you guys excited? Don't make us choose. Oh, Deb, you know the name of the game. Well, I'll be really honest. I have 2 kits made, these 2, and we can really change it up however we want. But I want to see kind of, what do you think? I do have one of these cut, and my colors here, let me talk about that really quick. I used Cajun Craze, and I do have pumpkin pie. Now, I didn't use pumpkin pie paper, but I do have some nearby. I used Pretty Peacock, Lost Lagoon, and Pool Party. And on this one, I also used Crumb Cake. So I do need to know which card we want to make today, or what elements. So if you want to be involved in that, I would love for you to be. I have a whole pile here. As you can see, my desk, my camera is really zoomed out today. I don't know. So you can kind of see my whole messy area. But I do have 2 card kits. So one card kit is this, and it just has the elements of the note card, the layers, and the base. So I have Cajun Craze and Pretty Peacock. And so you can see this looks a lot different before you sand it. You can also use the light side. Some of it's debossed, but that's okay. And then I have this kit cut. Now this paper is from Everyday Happiness. It is an older paper pack, but we still have it. So I wanted to give you some ideas of paper you might have in your stash to use up, and it can be for fall. So all of those plaids and geometric patterns and different things can definitely work for fall. So I do have a big maple leaf cut here, and we can do this if you want. So let's do a little voting, because I do like for you to be involved a little bit. You know, this is your card too. We're working through how we choose. Do we want this one with the embossed layer, or do you want to make one of these with designer series paper? Let's go with that choice. So 1 embossed layer or 2 designer series paper, and then we'll build from there. Excuse me. Okay, I see a lot of votes coming in for the designer series paper, which I love too. I like this one too, but okay, so let's set that off to the side. Here we go. Okay, so I will show you how to stamp this leaf so that you have your words all over it. I love that. It's very large, so I felt like it kind of took up the space. And I originally wanted this like this with my little latte cup, but it felt like it got lost because it's the size difference. So I don't know if you want a latte cup on there, if you just want a fall themed card. So let's get our pieces out and talk about that, and then we'll talk about how we want to build onto it. You can stamp this piece. It doesn't have to be paper. It can be just a plain piece of cardstock. So feel free to change this up if you want this different. So on my original card, my pocket was different from the background so that it wasn't as busy. And it drew your focus to this. So if you like a plain piece here and you don't want to use the designer series paper, that is fine. Change it up how you like. Okay, let's go through what's in the kit. We have our base. It is 5.5 by 4 1/4. So it is a quarter of a full sheet. So you could plan to make 4 of these or use the other ones for mats. But you can get 4 out of 1 piece. Then you're going to have a piece that makes the pocket, and it is 7 1/4 inch by 4. And we're going to do some scoring on this. I'm going to bring my trimmer in and show you how I score it. Our layer that goes on top of the base is 5 1/4 inch by 4. Then we have this piece that's going to go on the front of our pocket, and it becomes a square. So our pocket, when it's all folded, is 3 1/2 square, and our layer is 3 1/4 square. And then we have our note card that we're going to put into our pocket, and it is 3 1/4 inches by 4. Okay, and then I have some little circles over here. I have all the colors, and I used two-toned paper for this so that I could have a light and a dark of each color. Actually, I don't have each color. I guess I'm missing a Lost Lagoon one. Yeah, that's okay. I think I used it on my other card maybe, or didn't cut it. I don't know. Anyway, either way, I have lots of colors to choose from for us to put on there. And I like to make these little cards, so I don't mind having lots of little circles. Okay, so those are the pieces. And then whatever you want to decorate your pocket. Good morning, Vicki. So if we want this to decorate our pocket, that is fine. We could use the pretty peacock base with this, and it would be very monotone until we bring in our pops of Cajun Craze, our fall colors here, okay? And you can use whatever leaves you want. on this one, I just used 2 of this smaller leaf. And then some of these. So these are from those Gathering Moments. And I just have them stamped in Pumpkin Pie, Cajun Craze, Lost Lagoon, and this one's Pretty Peacock. And I have a whole pile here. So we have plenty to choose from. I wanted to show you guys something too. I just got my paper pumpkin from September, and it had these cute little pumpkins in it. And I stamped them and cut them out. So I thought that could be also cute, tucked in, okay? If you didn't get the paper pumpkin, you can always pick whatever pumpkins you have in your stash, or something, you know, that has a pumpkin in it. This little pumpkin is from the More Than Autumn set. So I had it tucked in when I had the coffee cup. And I also have some just other things, leaves that I die cut over here out of paper. So, Vicki, I'm not sure if I said good morning, but good morning. We're going to build our card here. So, curious, is everyone okay with the Pretty Peacock base? Or would you rather have the Cajun Craze base? Let's do that, and then I'm going to show you how to make your pocket, and we're going to get going with decorating it. So keep Pretty Peacock or change it to Cajun Craze. Let me bring in that other kit that I had made. So just for a visual reference here. So we're building our pocket, and this is going to be like this. Or it could be on the Cajun Craze. Like this. Excuse me. Sorry, it's allergy season here. I see some Pretty Peacock. Sometimes I kind of like the monotone effect, so it's really just a personal preference. And sometimes I like, when I'm layering things, to have a big difference. So it looks like Pretty Peacock is the chosen one. So if you're recreating, please change it however you would like. Now, something else you can do is you can take a sponge or an inking tool and go around the edge of your layers, and that's going to help it stand out a little bit if you like that kind of distressed look. And you can even match it, like you could use Pretty Peacock ink, Lost Lagoon ink, and it helps kind of give your pieces a little bit of dimension and separation. So, oh, I think everybody liked Pretty Peacock. Okay, so let's show you how to make the pocket, and then we're just going to start layering things, and we'll have to pick something we want to put on there as far as words. Okay, so everything, once it's cut, that is all good to go. Now let me bring in my trimmer so I can do some scoring here. And I've got to be able to see. Okay, so this is 7 1/4 inch on the long side. So on this side, we want to score it at 1/4 and 3 3/4. And I'm going to show you how I do that, because when I score this way, it's really hard to get a good score line on 1/4 of an inch. So I use this side of my trimmer and I go to my 1/4. So in case you're new and you're not, you're not used to this, this longer line right here is 1/8. This is 1/16, and this is your 4th line. So you have 1/16, 1/8, 1/16, and then there's our 1/2. So I'm just letting you know so you don't get some of these mixed up. Sometimes when I'm in a hurry, I don't pay attention. So you want that longer line for the 4th, and make sure you have your scoring blade ready to go. Don't cut. So we're going to score that. Okay. Then I flip it around and I go to 3 3/4. Now, this is the 4-inch side. We're going to put this back in our trimmer at 1/2, and I use this right-hand side to measure for this one as well. It's just easier to hold. And we're scoring this one at 1/2. Okay. Now we're going to crease it, and we're going to do a little cutting. And for this, when I make pockets and things that I really want to stick onto my card, I use tear and tape. So, my bone folder here, I'm going to fold this in half and score it. I'm going to come in and fold this. And then this 1/4. So if you wanted this to be bigger to fit your tape, you could make it 3/8. It fits this tape a little bit better. It's supposed to be a 1/4, but I don't know. Maybe I don't line my paper up right, but you could change this. Just remember, you need to add that because this is 3 1/2. So however long you want this flap, you add that to the 7. So I used 1/4 of an inch. If you wanted it a little bit bigger, you would have to add that. So if that doesn't make sense, feel free to message me. I can help you with that. Okay, now I'm just going to use my scissors. You can also use your trimmer. You can go in here where we scored, and you can cut along that line if you're nervous about cutting. I actually have a longer pair of scissors here. And I have a hard time seeing with the glare, so I'm cutting maybe. Okay, those don't want to work. I tried to sharpen them. I don't know. I'm not sure how they became dull, but they did. So I'm just cutting along that score line, and I'm in this lighting that I have for videoing. I can't see very well, so hopefully it was pretty straight. If you're nervous, feel free to use your trimmer. So when I get to this flap, I'm keeping this flap to make the bottom of my pocket, and I like to angle my cuts there. That just helps it give this side room to close and not bulge. Okay, so I do the same thing on this side. And then I'm going to do it right here on this flap. And this little piece gets cut away. Okay, so that's the only pieces you're cutting away. We're keeping this flap, and I cut a little angle here. And it helps it when it's closed so that this meets a little bit easier. Okay, so this goes this way, and this goes on the inside like this. If you don't want these to overlap, okay, you can cut that at more of an angle. You're going to add adhesive here, and then we're going to close it to make our pocket. Okay? Any questions on that? And you could save this little strip of paper if you wanted. If you keep scraps. I'm not keeping mine. Okay. All right, I'm flipping this over. I'm going to bring in my silicone craft sheet to protect my grid paper here. And I'm going to just put this along that flap. And I want to make sure I don't go over the score line. I don't want my pocket to be adhered shut. Oops, stuck to my finger. I didn't get that very close to the edge. That's okay. I might put a little more tape on that one. Okay, so this has release paper on it. You just peel it off. This is very sticky. So anything that's hanging over, maybe I didn't make it a straight line. I mean, it is the exact same size as the tape. So it's easy to kind of get it off the edge. I make sure all of it is on that flap. Like, see how that's glistening? You don't want that over because it will glue parts of your pocket that you don't want adhered. Now I'm going to take that off, and I messed up my tape a little bit, so I'll bring this in. Now the silicone craft sheet that I'm using here, I use it quite a bit. It is excellent for when you are adhering things because the adhesive doesn't stick to it. So if you watched my garland video, you noticed I used it with my hot glue gun. I keep a clean one I use for reverse image techniques, and the idea is that things don't stick to it. Okay, so now we're going to fold these up. Okay. And then I'm going to close this over. And I want to make sure I'm lining it up. And then I'm going to press it down. And I'm using my bone folder. I really want that to stay to create my pocket. Now I'm going to use my bone folder. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to press those flaps down and kind of help my pocket puff up a little bit so that my note card fits. Okay, so there's my pocket, and here is my little note card, and it just fits down in there. Cute, right? Okay, so we picked this designer series paper, so it is going to go on just like that. And I'm just going to go ahead and adhere that to my pocket. So you could make these. Last year I made them at Christmas time to hold gift cards. I give a lot of gift cards, especially to my older nieces and nephews. Or cash. You can tuck some cash in there. And they're cute. They're a cute little card. Now I want that to stick really well. So I did use liquid on that. The tear and tape will come back in when we adhere this pocket because I don't want it going anywhere. And we're going to go ahead and adhere this. So what do you think? Let's get some chatter in the comments. If you're watching live, you can see those comments. Of the leaves, what do you think? You want me to stamp the big leaf? Do we think we want a latte cup with it? Just some leaves? So here's the one that I did with the big leaf. Just for reference. Okay, so this is going to go inside this pocket. I'm just laying it there for right now. So we can kind of get a visual of how we want to build this. So I have this big leaf, and this is Lost Lagoon, and it's two-toned, and I used the light side. I just, the dark side works too, but I felt like this was just a little softer, and I stamped on top of my leaf. And I used this Thankful for You from the Gathering Moments. So the big leaf with no coffee, okay. The fox from the paper pumpkin. I don't, the paper pumpkin stamp doesn't have a fox. The kit does, but my kit isn't open, so I haven't even dug into that. I just grabbed the stamp set out. So that is an idea if you're recreating this and you want to use some pieces from that September paper pumpkin. I don't actually have mine open yet, just kind of open. So Deb wants it kind of like the original. Okay, so let's stamp this. I will show you that. I love hearing all your ideas. Now, when I originally stamped, I didn't have this extra grid paper here, so hopefully it won't slide around on me. I just used a scrap piece of paper and Pretty Peacock ink. You could try a really bold, different color. So mine is more of a subtle, almost like doing a tone on tone, but you could choose to do Cajun Craze, or I'm not sure how pumpkin pie would show up, but it probably would. So you can choose to do a bolder color if you want. Okay, so let's see, let me grab my stamp here. Vicki, I have a question because you mentioned the paper pumpkin. I didn't open my full kit yet and bust apart all the pieces. So are there extra fox die cuts, or is that, I've seen the completed cards. I just haven't actually fully opened my kit. Okay, trying to get a block that's pretty close to the size of my stamp. And I just want to make sure that it's kind of straight. This is like to me, a hand, it looks like handwriting. And so it's okay if it's not perfect. And when I stamped my leaf, you can kind of see where my leaf was on this paper because I stamped like this. Okay. So when you stamp your words on your leaf, and it can be any words, I've done hello repeatedly. You could do thinking of you. You could do the gather word that's really large here. You can do phrases, whatever you choose. You want to think about what direction this is going on your pocket. So here's my pocket. And if you want it to tilt this way, you want to put it that way when you start stamping so that your words are straight. So depending on how you want this, I think mine originally was like this. So you just want to kind of think about it before you start stamping your words. Okay, I'll have to look at that, Vicki. I'll have to open mine later and see. It is a beautiful kit. If you got the September paper pumpkin, the completed cards are gorgeous. So I can't wait to kind of dig in and play with it. I opened the box and then I grabbed my stamp set out, and I'll show you the stamp set if you got it. it has those little pumpkins, but it also has some different leaves and a smaller set of acorns. So, and some geese, which I thought was fun. So if you like to get those stamps to kind of help build your pieces, that's a really good one that we just had. Okay. So I'm just trying to make sure I didn't get any on the edges. Here lately I've been really rocking my stamps and kind of getting ink along the edge. And that will show up as what we call a halo on your project. So you just want to make sure you don't have that. I'm going to stand up to stamp. And we're just going to stamp. So to start off, I stamped like that. And I'm just going the same direction. And it might not be exact. That's okay. So you want some of them hanging off, and you just kind of want to vary how they're coming onto your leaf. Okay, so that's how you do it. Pretty simple technique that has a kind of a wow factor. I love stamping on these big leaves. Now it has another big leaf. It's an oak leaf. So you could use that one as well. It's very big. It's taller and thinner. Let me grab the die cut. So you could use this one as well. Just know that it covers some of your note card, but that's okay. They can still, we're going to put a tab there so they know that it pulls out. So you could use either one. If you don't have colored cardstock like this, you can cut a leaf from your white paper and use a blending brush and apply ink. And that would be really cool too, because you could do different colors and really make it look like a fall leaf. Okay, so let's bring this back over. So here's our pocket. And I like to kind of stick this in just so I can see, because it is going to show. So there's our words. Now we're going to build. So remember I told you I also did these little leaves. So this is from the More Than Autumn dies. Okay, and it has two pieces. It has a little outline and an inside piece. We can use those to put on top, or we can do stamped leaves. Now here's that leaf from the flower set. Okay, so it depends on what size you want. And this is from the Amber Autumn set. It's part of a new mega suite. And these pieces do pop out, but if you don't like this look, just keep your piece that popped out. And you can add a little piece of tape on the back and then adhere it. Okay. So I kind of like the die cut leaves. Thought I would try something a little different. We can always bring in those little pumpkins that were part of the paper pumpkin. So I have different colors here. I have Cajun Craze, and I did these out of the two-toned as well. I like the two-toned paper because you can get some variety of colors with just a little bit of paper. So that's Lost Lagoon. We probably don't want those because that is the color of our leaf. But I wanted to show you a cute trick in case you have these. So you can take this inside piece and switch it around so that the colors are different. Okay, so they're interchangeable, and I thought that would be fun on this too, on the orange ones. If I can get them apart here. So it just gives your leaf a little different look. So if you wanted Lost Lagoon on your pretty peacock, okay? Isn't that fun? So I wanted to show you that as well. So what do you think? Now on this card, I used a pretty peacock leaf, okay? Just to bring in that color, because on my original card, I had Cajun Craze. So that may be too much for this card because we already have a pretty peacock base. What do you guys think? I also did some of these. Let me know your thoughts. Do you like? Here's the stamped. I don't know if we want a big leaf. There's the smaller one. We have the stamped leaves. Or the die cut leaves. And then we can add in an acorn. We can add in pumpkins. And I would just color these with my blends. I do have my blends over here. What do you think? Let me know what your thoughts are on how we're building our pocket. Good morning, Dad. Thanks for joining us. Joan, you like all the colors? I do too. Probably my favorite things are teals with reds or the oranges. I just love how that pops. So any thoughts on our leaves? We could also do a mix. So if you wanted, and I don't have these tapes, so they're going to fall apart. If you wanted a die cut and then you wanted a stamped leaf, you could mix them like this. Oops. And I have a little piece over here that I stamped on. I do have a Thankful for You already stamped. We don't have to stamp that again. So if you want something, now this one has a little tiny hello, or you can use, we have lots of sets that say hello. You could put hello. On this one, I just put my greeting was Thankful for You again. And I cut it at an angle. And I put it down here to kind of anchor all my leaf pieces. So I do have that one already stamped. Or we could do something different. And then here's our little pumpkins. When I think of fall, I think of leaves changing colors and pumpkins. Okay. Any thoughts on mixing the two things? Anybody creating along with me? The other thing we have to choose is a pull tab here. So on my original, I used a dark Pretty Peacock. Again, I was trying to balance out that Cajun Craze color. So on this one, we may want to choose Cajun Craze or Pumpkin Pie. And I have light and dark of each one. And that brings that color in a little bit more, a little pop of that color, and it draws our eye to the pull tab. Now I will stamp my little note card. I'll stamp a little leaf on the bottom. Anyone have any thoughts? Anybody creating here with me? Use dies only. Okay. Thank you, Luann, for that. Anybody else have a preference that you want to throw in? And I do. I think this is so fun. So this one's lighter. Just kind of gives it a different look. Now I do have this leaf, and so the two-tone, the dark side is the original color, and then there's a light side. So they have a dark and a light. And so this is the dark pumpkin pie. And I picked the light. So I kind of like that there's a variation there. Ooh, Deb, pumpkin pie. Okay. So for our pull tab, we'll use pumpkin pie. I do like that with Pretty Peacock. It's just a fun pop. You like the larger leaves like my original? So this is going to get cut down and go right here. So when you use the smaller ones, more of your words will show. And I do have, this is from that flower set. So you could tuck this into, originally I did 3 leaves. I have 1 big leaf and 3 small leaves. Now I don't have all the colors cut, but I do have this pool party leaf. So you could do a pool party leaf. I know that's not technically fall, but neither is Lost Lagoon technically, but it's fun. You could do one of these and then put the orange on top of it. Okay, that's kind of what I did over here. I had a Pretty Peacock leaf and then Cajun Craze and pumpkin pie. So it depends on all the colors you've chosen so far. So you could change it up definitely based on kind of how you're building your card. Okay, let me catch up here real quick on the comments. Oh, thanks for looking, Vicki. So we just have enough. Yes, the stamp set has acorns, and I do have some of those. So this stamp set has acorns as well. These in the paper pumpkin are smaller, quite a bit, and you have to color them. So use what you got. If you got the paper pumpkin, then you can use the smaller leaves. Okay, so I'm going to swipe some of these away. We're not going to use the pumpkins on this one, and that's okay. I think these are really fun. And we're going to do this one with just die cuts. You can see I'm going to be making a ton more. Look at this pile I have over here. Okay, so this needs cut down. Excuse me. And somebody suggested to change this up and do pumpkin pie. So I'm going to move this over. Nothing is adhered yet. And we're just going to kind of look at this. So this is how it would sit on the card. Do you like, let me trim this down really quick. You don't have to do angled, okay? Up to you. I cut my angle and then I use my excess to come over to the other side and I line it up and I cut along it to create the same angle. Okay, so there is our greeting. I did already have it stamped, so this will fit here. Oops. Now I will move my leaves. This one won't be hiding, but you get the idea, okay? So we're gonna have 3 orange leaves to bring in that pop of fall color because we went more of a monochromatic look. Now we need to choose our little tab. So this is pumpkin pie, 2-tone, and this is the light side. Do you like A, the dark, or B, the light? So it will go right here. It folds in half, okay, like that. So A is the dark. Can you see that okay? I know my arm's in the way. A is the dark. B is the light. I like that it's mostly monochromatic and then we have this pop of color going. Really fun. Now, while you're deciding on that, I am going to pull this piece out and we're going to stamp a little leaf down here. And I'm just going to use Cajun Craze and I'm going to stamp this leaf right here. You can choose whichever one you like. But I do want a little something in there. So tap, tap, tap. Make sure that you didn't rock your stamp. And I'm just going to stamp that toward the bottom. And these are distinctive. So you'll notice when you ink it up, it doesn't, some spots do not look like they have ink, but they do. It's just the way the stamp is designed. So when you stamp, you get all this variation. Really fun. You want it to match the leaf. Well, I already stamped it. Sorry. I think the dark pumpkin pie has won out, but this one's, I'm going to save this one for later. I have plans for these. So this one will go here. And all you have to do is fold this in half. Now, because this is two-toned, when you fold this, it can crack and show the white. So I just try to be gentle with it. And I'm going to use a little bit of liquid adhesive on each side. And then I'm guessing where the middle is. So if you want it to be exact, you can measure it. I'm just guessing and then pinching it like that. And it might not be exact, but that's okay. And then this slides in here like this. Now, I'm going to adhere my pocket on here before I decorate it. So make sure your opening is at the top, okay? We're going to bring back in the tear and tape. I want my pocket to really stick. That note card's going to slide in and out, and I do not want this to come undone. So I put it along the top and the bottom. And then I like to do a little extra strip in the middle. It's my preference. If you want to save on adhesive, you do not have to put that there. Now, once this sticks, it's stuck, okay? Tear and tape is permanent adhesive. So it doesn't have a lot of give. That's why I said make sure your pocket is facing up. And then I put it toward the bottom. I want room for that note card. So I'm going down toward the bottom. And I'm just trying to get it even. And then placing it. And then I go in and I like to rub the back of that pocket and make sure that it's completely adhered to my base. There we go. Now this is ready to slide in, and we're ready to adhere all of this. So let me, yes, Cajun Craze. Oh, I got you, Deb. Okay. Sometimes I look at the comments and I don't always catch it. So I'm going to tape this, and I might have to cut some of it away because these are quite small. I just used some Scotch tape. And I'm just carefully cutting the excess away to hold that vein back in. Okay, let me try to cut a smaller piece. So these little tiny leaves from that More Than Autumn set are really fun. And I just cut a little tiny piece of Scotch tape to hold them together because I want the veins to stay. Now, on this one, ooh, I could switch. Because this one, you know, these are switched. So I could take this light one out and do the dark. So if I'd cut these from Cajun Craze, I didn't. I just did the pumpkin pie. I could have switched it out so that it was pumpkin pie and Cajun Craze too. For some reason, I'm having a hard time getting that back in there. And I'm going to use a little piece of tape to hold that. And I'll save that. There we go. There we go. That's fun. Now they all have a little bit different look. Oh, Deb, you're fine. We know you have one hand. Sometimes it's me. I'm blaming me for that one. I just didn't I didn't understand completely what you said. So no worries. So you were saying this piece matches my little leaf here and brings that color in. And that is an excellent point. So any color would have worked. If you wanted it to be monochromatic so that only these leaves were the pop of orange, you could do that too. There was no wrong answer for sure. Thanks, Vicky. Vicky's... Ooh, mad face. Okay, so now we're going to build this. And I adhered everything flat except for my greeting. You can change that. Just know, if these are going in the mail, you want to be careful of the dimension, because here in the US, if they're more than 1/4 of an inch thick, you will have to pay extra. So I like to do most of my elements flat and then have a pop. I just stuck some liquid glue there in the middle. I'm going to lay this down so that my words are straight. And it can be off the page. That's why I only put glue in the middle, because I knew that this was going to hang off and some of these other parts were going to hang off, and I don't want them flat, and I certainly don't want this to be attached to my note card that's moving. I love our coffee and a card mornings. This is definitely not just a tutorial. I love that you guys participate with me so that we can all learn and we all have ideas. So that's what makes this creative community so great, is that we can share. Okay, so I just, originally I just clustered my leaves and I adhered them down, and then this was on a dimensional down here. Again, change it up however you like. If you, maybe, you know, when you were stamping, something didn't stamp perfect, put your greeting over that. So it's okay to do that. So I'm just going to start putting these down. And because I taped them, it'll be a little bit easier to glue. I probably could have used just a little bit more tape on this one, but that's okay. It works. Oops. Stuck to my finger. So I'm going to put this one like that. I'm going to go ahead and stick some dimensionals on this. And if you're like me, I use all the pieces all the way around the edge. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up some of these. Okay, so this is going to go down here. Somehow I got something on this. Leave it to me, right? I'm just using an adhesive eraser. I'm not sure what I got on it, but so this is going to go here, and it's going to cover this little cluster. It's going to cover all the stems of the leaf. So I'm just kind of looking to plan. Aw, thank you, Maggie. I like starting my weekend this way too. So I'm just putting some adhesive on this one. I'm going to put it like that. I love that you could make these up. So maybe you want to give your kids' teacher a little gift. You know, Thanksgiving is around the 9-week mark. They probably need, you know, a little pick-me-up. You could give them to anyone on your list. You could have them ready for Thanksgiving, and, you know, or a Friendsgiving. Wouldn't this be cute little things for a Friendsgiving? Now you could translate this to happy birthday with a little gift card for people who have fall birthdays. So lots of ideas for this. So there are my leaves. And this piece, it is a little thick here because we have a pocket. So I'm going to pull this down a little bit. There we go. What do you think? I love it. So, you can stamp everything and die cut, and it has a little bit different look. I love that these stamps are that distinctful, so it has kind of a distressed look and a variation with your stamped leaves. Or you can use these die cuts. Now remember, this die cut is from a different set. It is from the Amber Autumn bundle. It's this leaf right here. So that is a new suite. You can find all those products in my online store at bethroy.stampinup.net. I hope you have enjoyed this. So you can make little treats. These are great for everything. Let me bring back in my other ones. I loved sharing this with you. So now I have some little note, I call them pocket cards, but you can put a gift card or money. You can tuck it in with your little note card that pulls out. So fun. Thank you all. Deb, when I will put this link, it should be in my group. If it is not, I will load it there today, but it is on my blog under the Hot Cocoa Pocket card. The bones of it are all the same, and then how you decorate it and your greeting layer can be different. So those can change. And this is a PDF. So all you have to do is click on the link on your computer and then hit print. And then you can put this in your stash of tutorials or save it to your computer and view it there. It has all the measurements and the cutting guide for the pocket. Thank you all. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions about the products, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you all so much for spending some of your time with me. Everyone have a wonderful weekend. Take care.